How is it being Saurav Ganguly, hounded every day, chased every day? Today I started calling you at 6:35 in the morning, and that is a regular thing for you. But you still don't lose your calm, you still don't lose your poise. Look at this audience, everybody has come to hear you. How do you deal with being Saurav Ganguly?
I consider myself extremely lucky and privileged to be in this position. I always say that, in whatever profession you are, whether in sport, business, education, whatever profession you are, if you are wanted, if people ask you to do something for them work-wise, professionally, charitably, whichever way they want it to be done, I know it's an extreme privilege, and I really don't find it difficult. Yes, I just have to manage few things, which I do. Like I played last night and I tried telling Borea that can I be excused for this program because the earliest flight was 7 o'clock in the morning. But he said, no, you have to come. So I have to deal with it. I have to deal with it and manage with it. And it's so nice I've come. I see this, your summit getting bigger and bigger every year. I know how much effort and hard work you've put over the years to get where you are, and I wish you all the very best.
Your leadership philosophy, when you started out as a cricketer from Bengal, the challenges, and to become who you did, change Indian cricket, transform Indian cricket. When you look back, do you think you have exceeded your own expectations as a leader, as a captain, as a statesman, as somebody who is considered, one in millions, one in billions? When you look back at your own career?
I never had any expectations. When I first played cricket at the age of 13, my father took me to the ground because the school exams had just finished. I used to study in St. Xavier's and I was a very naughty boy. I used to play football a lot. In those days, there was no cable TV, there was no mobiles, there were no computers. So at that age, it was only sport and education. And to get away from my mother's mathematics and Bengali and history, I had to play the sport so that I can go away and play. So I never had any expectations at that age. I just kept playing. And I say that to everyone, obviously with experience over the years and what I've learned from professional sport, is that when you have too much expectations of too many things, you actually put a burden on yourself. You actually put pressure on yourself. And I just played cricket because I enjoyed playing the game. I loved playing the game, and things happened one after the other. In life, sometimes we make the mistake of looking too far ahead. I think it's important to be in the present. It's important to do your best in the present, because once you're very good at the present, the future is taken care of, and it's never the other way around. So as you asked me the question at the age of 14, 15, I never knew where I would go. I played under 15s. I was happy because I was playing for Bengal. Then I went on to play the under 19s. They selected me for India. I played well for India, and then I got picked for Ranji Trophy, and then things kept falling one after the other. So at that age, when you're young, Borea, you don't look that far. I know your parents keep thinking the world about you, and then I see a few parents here and their children, as they're growing up, you think about their future, you think about the world, because you love them, because you want them to be successful. But, it's important that they do well what they're doing now, and keep doing it over and over again. You don't get successful over a period of time. You will only be a Tendulkar or a Kohli or a Ganguly or a Dravid after 15, 20, 25 years. So you have to go through that journey of 15 years of being successful, of failing, of understanding how to be successful. Even after trying so much, you still don't succeed. A lot of people will come back and say, "Arey yaar, I've tried so much. I've given all my effort, but I'm still not doing well." But that's what reality is. I remember once Rahul Dravid said, if you watch my career, I have failed about 400 times for India. Out of 700 games I've played for India, or 600 games I've played for India. So that's what the reality is. In life, you'll fail more often than you'll succeed. But when you succeed, you make sure that you do it so well that it works for you. So you will see more tough times than I won't say tough times, more frustrating times. Last night in Delhi, we won the last 3 games. We were the number 1 in the group. We still are the number 1 in the group. And we got 180 yesterday, and we still couldn't defend it. And you feel frustrated from outside because you're such a good team, you're such a good bowling attack. but you realize that, losing the toss in these conditions is not easy because the dew is a huge factor in the night. So it's frustrating. But then you got to wake up in next morning and prepare for the knockouts, because you are in the knockouts and you got to put this behind and wake up for the next day. So life's about that. It's about waking up for the future, for the day after, and not looking too far behind.
When you took over, and so tomorrow India plays a Champions Trophy final. It is now almost sort of a habit. India will be in the World Cup final, the Champions Trophy final, the T20 champions. Test match cricket also, when we now travel to Australia, we say we can win. It wasn't the case when you took over as captain. I mean, before that, when I see in the 1990s, we were not that great overseas. Even in white ball cricket, we were not winning consistently, which we now do. That transformation happened under you, whether it is beating Australia, whether it is 2002 Champions Trophy joint winners, whether it is World Cup final in 2003. And you had some incredible athletes in the dressing room who will obviously have superhuman egos. As a leader, how did you bring that transformation, and how did you control, superhuman egos like a Tendulkar, like a Sehwag, like a Lakshman, or a Dravid, or an Anil? Your leadership philosophy, please.
To be honest, when I first became captain, I did not have any philosophy. I did not know about philosophy. I did what I felt was for the best intention of the team. I don't think two individuals will be different. India has had different captains after me. I finished, then Rahul came in, then Anil, then MS, then Virat, and now it's Rohit. So every captain will be different, every leader will be different, and every captain will have its own way of dealing with things. You're talking about the Champions Trophy final tomorrow. I think 2002, which is 22 years ago, we played New Zealand in a Champions Trophy final at Nairobi. In those days, there weren't World Cups every year. The times have changed now. So I remember playing the final. I got 100 in the final against New Zealand.
That was 2000. 2002 is the one you won in Sri Lanka.
2002, yes. No, I think the one before.
Yeah, the Nairobi one, the Chris Cairns innings.
Yes, we beat Australia in the quarterfinals. We beat South Africa in the semi-finals, and then went on to play New Zealand in the final. So I think your intent has to be right. It's, as a leader, what you want to do, what you want to achieve. And I think during our era, it was not the T20 era. We never played T20 cricket at that time. It was Test and one-day cricket, and Test cricket was the pinnacle of everything at that time. So I remember being captain in 2000, and my biggest intention was to earn respect as a team away from home. It's what you want as a captain. We were a champion side in India in subcontinent conditions because we had the best spinners in the world. And sometimes I've said it many a times in my career as captain. I said, when I captained in India, I just gave the ball to Harbhajan and Anil and went and stood at point or square leg or cover, and they did everything for you. The wickets turned. They were outstanding spinners, and we got 20 wickets over a period of 5 days. But the toughest challenge was away. The conditions were different. Spin wasn't effective. The seamers had to come into the system to win test matches away. And it's a cultural change which needed. I remember going to the West Indies and dropping Anil Kumble, and I had the most nasty eyes staring at me ever in my life, because he was Anil Kumble, the greatest spinner India has ever produced. And asking him to sit out of a game was very, very hard, because I wanted to play three seamers. The wicket had grass, and I wanted to win the toss and bowl. So it's about the change in culture. It's about the change in culture and mindset, change in the way you look at things. I always say that, I was fortunate that I led some champions. The likes of Sehwag, Tendulkar, Dravid, Lakshman, Anil, Harbhajan, who all went on to play 100 test matches for India. It doesn't happen many a number of times. I don't know whether it's ever happened also, that opener 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all went on to play 100 test matches for India, which is a phenomenal achievement. So from that point of view, I've said many a number of times that I was very fortunate that I led people who could actually be my captain at that time. And I led them for a period of 6 years. And I became a good captain because I had them around me. There were such great players, Tendulkar, Dravid, Lakshman. Some of the test matches we won in that generation was unreal. Imagine the Calcutta test match against Australia. We were down and out, asked to follow on the best ever cricket team of this generation, and we came and beat them on day 5. Imagine Adelaide. Australia had 400 on day 1 of the test with Adam Gilchrist and Ricky Ponting and Steve Waugh. And on day 5, India was winning the test match. I remember after tea time on day 5, we won that test. So it's been phenomenal, Headingley. And I still remember that morning in Yorkshire in 2002, I won the toss and I batted. And Ian Botham was doing the pitch report and he looked at me and said, "Are you serious that you want to bat at Headingley on day 1? I said, "Yeah, I've got no choice because I'm playing 2 spinners." And on day 5, we won by an innings and 150 runs against England. So, leadership, achievements, winning or losing is also about taking the bold decision. It's also about facing pressure head on rather than waiting for it to happen. I could have easily bowled in Headingley, thinking that that's the safest option. But safest options don't win you cricket matches.
I think this is what connects you to Rohit Sharma. He can easily go out there and bat, and run a ball and whatever and get to 100 or whatever. But he's batting with intent and scoring some 40s of 20 balls and getting India off to a flyer. Yes, statistically speaking, we will say he's not getting the big hundreds, but is that intent, is that what you see or want to see in a leader? Thoughts on Rohit Sharma?
Yeah, but it's a fine balance, I think. I think he's a much better player than just scoring 30, 40s in 50-over cricket. He'll still score at a very good strike rate. And if you remember the 100 he got against England at Cuttack, he was brilliant. Yes, as much as quick starts are required because India bat very deep. Ravindra Jadeja bats at number 8 for India. You can imagine how strong and how good the batting unit is. Akshar Patel bats at 5. So he can have that freedom at the top, but I think he's a much better player than that. I was reading Mr. Gavaskar saying day before yesterday that Rohit should not just look at 20, 30s and bat 25, 30 overs and get to a big score rightfully, because if he bats 30 overs, India will beat any team because he plays at that pace. And he's capable of doing that. So as much as the starts are required, I think he also needs to carry on. Look at what Virat did against Pakistan. Pressure game, he got in, he took the game till the end. And I think Rohit Sharma can do that. He can do that.
At the CAB function about a month ago, you had said to me that I'm not worried about Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli in white ball cricket. And exactly that is what has happened. And India once again playing a final tomorrow against New Zealand. A word on Virat Kohli. Again, Pakistan match putting his hand up. Australia match putting his hand up in white ball cricket. Phenomenal. Is he the best?
He's the greatest white ball player. I said that even before they went into the Champions Trophy. He's the greatest white ball player. And I've seen Sachin. No one can compare to Sachin, but Virat Kohli is the greatest white ball player in the world has ever seen. And I wasn't surprised. The way he batted against Pakistan or Australia. And I won't be surprised if he gets another big score tomorrow. So red ball and white ball is different. As I said, he's a phenomenal white ball player. What has surprised me is his form in red ball over the last 4-5 years. Player of his stature, player of his ability, I think he can do much better than what he has done. And once this series finishes, once whatever happens tomorrow, he must put on his thinking cap because they have 5 tests against England. And that's going to be another hard series like the way it was in Australia. It's going to seam, it's going to swing, and England are a good side at home. So India need him to perform in the red ball. But white ball, he's the greatest ever.
Ravichandran Ashwin was in a session just before you, and he said he's kind of feeling nerves with New Zealand. The team has great balance. India versus New Zealand. Yes, India obviously, superpower of world cricket now. But he's feeling some nerves. Deep Das Gupta was also on the panel, said the same. How do you set up this final sort of India versus New Zealand Champions Trophy? New Zealand has great balance, but are India, favourites? And what does this mean for Rohit Sharma? Australia, he lost. New Zealand series at home, yes, in Test cricket, he lost. How much will this mean for Rohit Sharma, the captain?
New Zealand is always a very good team. There's no doubt about it. They have good spinners. You saw when they came to India for the Test, they won 3-0. Beating India 3-0 in India, it has never happened in the history. And I don't think it will happen again. So you can imagine how good they are in these conditions because they have spinners who can get wickets. And I think of all the teams India has played to get to here, whether it's Pakistan and Australia, I think New Zealand will be the toughest opposition. India beat them in the group stage, but group stage and finals are 2 different kettle of fish. But having said that, I still feel India is a much stronger side. India's batting is much stronger than any team in this competition. And you've seen that in the 3 games India played. Somebody has stood up and won it for them. So it won't be easy for New Zealand. For me, India is favourites. But obviously favourites mean nothing. It's how you play on that day. I remember in 2001, we beat, as I said, Australia in the quarters, South Africa in the semis, and nobody expected New Zealand to beat us in the final. So finals are finals, but I'm still backing India because India has the team. India has got the spinners to bowl in those conditions. 4 spinners in Akshar, Jadeja, and most importantly Varun, who's a new element in that bowling lineup, and Kuldeep. It's a serious spin attack, and then the batting. Batting goes down till late. So they're a very, very strong side.
Yeah, and what on Rohit and what this will mean to him as captain the Champions Trophy, because back-to-back ICC tournament wins if he does that?
Yeah, every world title is a phenomenal achievement, and he's fortunate that he's captained India in 3 World Cups in 15 months. You know, times have changed. It never used to be the same before. You know, in 23 in October, it was in India, 24 July, it was in the West Indies, and now 25, this is February, March, it's in Pakistan and Dubai. So in 15 months, he's had the opportunity to captain 3 World Cups. And the quality of side India is, it's very rare that they will lag behind in 3 of them. What has stood out for me is the number of games they've won in these 3 World Cups. They've lost only the final. 1 final in 3 World Cups is a phenomenal achievement. You know, you played in India, then you went away in the West Indies. You went away in the West Indies, and now you're in Dubai. So you can say that the conditions suited the spinners, whether it's India or the Caribbean or Dubai, but you still have to execute and still have to win.
Where do you stand on this debate? I mean, the English cricketers saying India has an unfair advantage, some experts saying India has an unfair advantage. Ashwin dismissed it, saying this is a non-starter, this is a bogus debate. Where does Sourav Ganguly stand? Do we have an unfair advantage in Dubai?
Yeah, but what's the choice? You know, I don't think India has agreed to play all their matches in Dubai on their will. It's because they can't go to Pakistan. It's because the government of India doesn't allow them to go to Pakistan. So it's not in India's hands. That's the way it is. And I remember I was BCCI president in 2020, and we allotted the Champions Trophy to Pakistan. And I was a part of the team that allocated all the World Cups till 2031. India will have the 2026 World Cup and the 2029 Champions Trophy and the 2031 World Cup again. So it's not something which India has done. It's just that you can't go to Pakistan. And I can tell you, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Shreyas Iyer will be feeling sad they can't get to bat on those pitches in Lahore and Karachi, where oppositions are scoring 350. Oppositions are scoring 350. You know, England scored 350, Australia chased it. New Zealand scored 360. And you look at the scores in Dubai, 240, 250. So, you know, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma and Shreyas Iyer and Shubman Gill will be thinking, yeah, why don't we get those wickets in Dubai? And I get 300 or 400s, get 300. So actually India is missing out on flat pitches away from Pakistan. I've been to Pakistan 3 times. For the first time we won Test and One Days in 2004. India never won in Pakistan before that. You know, 5 Test matches, I remember in the 5 One Days. I remember the first game in Lahore, we got 360. And Pakistan had won the game. Old Inzamam ul Haq was just hitting 6s like breakfast. And in the last over, I don't know if many of you remember those Javed Miandad visuals where as a captain I was looking at him and not at Moin Khan, because he was instructing Moin Khan to hit from the dressing room. And 8 runs they needed in the last over and we won. So wickets in Pakistan are the flattest in the world. And I must say that India is missing out. India won in India, where they went around the 9 cities. They went to West Indies, where they went around 8 cities to win the T20 World Cup. So I don't think it's got anything to do with India staying in Dubai. It's just that what it is. England don't go to Zimbabwe. And I remember in 2003 World Cup when I was captain, during the World Cup, India had Zimbabwe in their group, and England had Zimbabwe in their group, and they conceded points to Zimbabwe because they wouldn't go to Zimbabwe. Yeah, so every country has their own way of doing things, and And I don't think it's any fault of the Indian cricket team or the board that they haven't gone to Pakistan.
So he's completely flipped the debate on his head. That India is actually missing out by not going to Pakistan. You would have seen 350 plus scores every time India would have batted in those conditions in Pakistan. Saurav Ganguly for you, ladies and gentlemen. Completely flipped the debate on its head. Last few minutes. You know, when I see this Indian team, the consistency that you spoke about, one defeat in 2 years in white ball cricket, in Champions Trophy and World Cups and all of this. Am I right in saying that we in India, we are the greatest, or rather the biggest superpower in white ball cricket at the moment? And are we the best and most consistent team?
We are a very good team. I wouldn't say we are the greatest, best superpower. I don't think that way. At the moment, they are playing well. You know, last 15 months, they have been phenomenal. I think leadership is very important. I've always said Rohit Sharma is a fabulous captain. And
Can you explain this a little bit more? Why are you saying Rohit Sharma is a fabulous captain?
because that's what I see. That's what I see, and that's what I notice when he's captaining India. I've seen him captain Mumbai Indians, so I think he's a fantastic captain. I have captained India for so many matches, so I can see the traits in a captain. So I'm not surprised that he's taken the team to greater heights in the white ball, but I don't know whether he's going to continue playing Test cricket. And if he's hearing me on this, I think he should take the responsibility of turning things around with the red ball. And I think India are not good at the red ball at the moment. And they need to look at it. They need to find a way how well they play in England, because that's going to be a very important 5 Test
You've
series.
just given me a headline, India not good in red ball. Rohit Sharma should take responsibility of turning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He has to find a way to get this team going in the red ball in Test cricket. So in one-day cricket, they're unbeatable. They're a fabulous side. My fingers crossed. I'm backing them tomorrow to win in the future as well. You know, when you look at Indian cricket in the white ball, you can have two teams. You can have two teams who'll beat any team in the world at the moment. You see the T20 side. There's no Rohit Sharma. There's no Virat Kohli. There is no Shreyas Iyer. There is no KL Rahul. There is no Shubman Gill, and they still hammer everyone. They went to South Africa, won all the games. England came here. They hammered England. So there are actually 30 players who can actually wear the Indian shirt in the white ball and win games for India. But whether it's the same in red ball cricket, I'm not sure yet. And I think that culture needs to come back.
My last 5 minutes actually was on the red ball. How do we change this? Because in Australia, after a point, winning the first test, series progressed, India went downhill. We will play white ball and then we will play the IPL for 2 months. After that, we go to England and 5 test matches. How does a Virat Kohli rectify his issue? How does a Rohit Sharma get things changed again? Jasprit Bumrah, we heard that may not be available for the first part of IPL. So Jasprit Bumrah and this whole workload. Can we transform our red ball fortunes in England? Is that possible for you? And if there is, what is the formula?
Absolutely, it's possible. You have to bat well. You look at the times India played the best away from home. It's when they put 400, 500 runs on the board. You speak about our generation where we won in England. We were 1-1 in Australia against the best ever cricket team in the world. We went to Pakistan and won in Pakistan only because we were scoring 600 runs. Those 3 test matches in Pakistan against that attack. In Multan, we got 600. In Lahore, we got 400. And in the final test in Pindi, we got 700. Going to Australia, 500 in Brisbane, 500 in Adelaide, 700 in Sydney. So you have to get runs on the board to win test matches. You don't win test matches by scoring 200, 250, 180. The reason they won in Perth because they got 400 on the board, where Yashasvi Jaiswal got a fantastic 100 in the second innings. So India will have to bat well. The likes of Rohit, Virat, Yashasvi, who I think is the best test batsman at the moment for India, they'll have to bat well. Pant, he's got to bite the bullet and play the ball. Seaming ball, swinging ball. Now you can't keep swinging all the time and expect to score runs in test cricket. So it's a mentality, it's the determination and the grit. They have the talent. Virat Kohli, the best in the business. I don't see him failing 5 test matches in England. Yashasvi Jaiswal, Rishabh Pant, KL Rahul, Shubman Gill, who needs to take his test cricket batting much higher. My only worry when I see them play test cricket is, other than Virat and Yashasvi, not many of them average more than 40 away from home. And the likes of Rahul, Shubman, Pant, and whoever comes in will have to look at that. You know, if you want to be a good test team, 3 or 4 of your top 6 batters must be averaging close to 15 test matches.
How many brands do you now endorse?
I don't know.
No, seriously. I mean, Tanya's there, right?
I don't know.
40 plus brands after 16 years of retirement. I don't think I know any other sports person in the world. 40 plus brands, 16 years after retirement. One time during Pujo, last Durga Pujo, my wife and I, we started walking from our house to the next major crossing, and I've told this story to him. There were 271 hoardings. 191 either had a Mamata Banerjee photo or a Saurav Ganguly photo. Honestly. And you know why Saurav Ganguly is unbeatable? And he looked at me, I thought I've got him. And he said, what about the other 80? Those also should have had ours. But on a serious note, International Women's Day, you know what has given me tremendous joy? I've spoken to a number of the cricketers from the Delhi Capitals. Trisha also told me this, that you working closely with a Marizan Cap or a Shefali Verma has done incredible work for the Delhi Capitals team. And you working with these girls for women's cricket will take that sport forward. A word on that. Working hands-on with the Delhi Capitals women's team.
I think this is the first time I've done that, and I've enjoyed it actually. And I need to speak to Parth that I hope he doesn't ask me to do it over and over again.
Why? We should. I will tell him to make sure that you please keep doing. So, Indian women's cricket will go forward.
But I think women's cricket has gone a long way from what I've seen. You know, when I first became president in 2019, women's cricket was not very seriously looked at. And this is 2025, 6 years later, when I see a Shefali Verma, when I see a Smriti Mandana, when I see a Harmanpreet Singh, or when I see a Renuka Thakur or some of these, or our own Richa Ghosh, you really feel happy because the work that has been put in has really been reflected. The WPL, the Women's Premier League, will be a huge stepping stone for them to be even better. You know, I couldn't believe that 3 years ago, the Indian women's team went to England and beat them 3-0. I remember that night when they won all the 3 games and won the series 3-0. You know, working with Meg Lanning. Can you imagine? She's won 6 World Cups for Australia.
Yes.
She's just 30 years old and she has won 6 World Cups for Australia.
And even yesterday, 92.
She got 92 yesterday. There's some phenomenal talent in the WPL. The Australians are still very, very strong. When you look at Meg Lanning, when you look at Ashley Gardner, Beth Mooney, then there was Litchfield yesterday, and some of the other players. So the Australians are very, very strong and very good at the moment, but the Indians are not too far behind. You know, you look at Shefali Verma. I sit in the dugout and she hits 6s at will. She's just a 20-year-old girl. You know, she steps out and hits them into the stands at will.
Trust me, if Saurav Ganguly works with Shefali Verma, I think that can be the best thing possible for Indian women's cricket.
I want to work with KL Rahul. I want to work with.
You work with all.
I want to work with Mitchell
Starc. A couple of endorsements less.
Jake Fraser McGurk. Don't just keep me to Meg Lanning.
I'm not saying only. I'm saying also. A couple of days less on endorsements. You've made hundreds of crores. You don't need the money anymore. So the women's team will get better and better. But I'll close out with a very personal one. Saurav Ganguly's, and my daughter's here, and this is one bond, and today is International Women's Day. Saurav Ganguly on Sana Ganguly, tell me. Because you and I have spoken about this multiple times, and each time I see a glint in your eye. Your daughter and you, that bond, share with us. The bond that you rush to London for, the bond that keeps you going. I know it is a very special bond for any father and any daughter, but today on International Women's Day, tell us something.
It's a great bond as long as I get hold of her. But I don't get hold of her. I call her 15 times a day, and then at 12:35 in the night when I'm sleeping, I get a message, I'll call you back tomorrow because I had a busy day in office. I said, you know, even the Ratan Tatas and the Ambanis and the Jindals, if you call 17 times a day during office, they'll still have 5 minutes to pick up the phone and say, either I'll call you back or I'll speak to you. But my daughter doesn't have the time.
So you know what?
So after a month, I said, it's not that you don't have the time, it's just that you don't want to pick dad's call. So that's what it is. So that's why I have to go to London to see her. Not that she's very happy that me and Donna go to meet her. Every time I tell her that mom's coming for 3 weeks, 4 weeks to spend time. She said, why? You are alone in Calcutta. I said, no, you are alone in London. I'm okay in Calcutta because I have my mom here. You are with nobody. So that's what kids are. She's 23 and she doesn't want anybody around. But the good thing is I've seen a lot of change in her when in the last 2 years when she's been away from home and she's understood the world. She understood what money is because she comes and tells me, hey, don't buy this because it's very expensive. I say, why? He said, because I don't get so much salary. I said, yeah, that's the reality of the world. So you must understand and learn and find a way to grow up properly in life. So they are the best thing in the world. Your little girl is here. One advice, never send them away. Because if you send them away, they never come back. So just an advice, there are enough good schools in Calcutta. There are enough good universities in Bengal, Presidency, Calcutta, Jadavpur, St. Xavier's. They give the same education as UCL and Oxford and Cambridge. So keep them here, keep them next to you. Don't send them away because if they go, they never come back.
But I'll close out on this note. Please sit. I'll close out on this note. There are many of my friends from the media, Srinjoy, Orinjoy, Rajoshi there.
The best thing I like about Orinjoy, 5 months ago I met him in Trafalgar Square.
Yeah,
His father had sent him for a year course and I saw him in Trafalgar Square with a friend walking around. I caught him from the back. I said, hey, what are you doing here? He said, no, I've got a day off in college and I'm here. I said, what's the plan? He says, I want to go back to Calcutta.
And he said to me...
He said, I want to go back to Calcutta. And I was so happy. So I went home and told Sana that I met Orinjoy and he's elder to Sana. And I said, the first thing he said, I want to go back to Calcutta. So I said, you should also start saying the same thing that I want to go back to Calcutta.
And I met Orinjoy a couple of days after he comes back to Calcutta and I said, Tor hoye gache? As in, you're done. And he said, 1 year is too much. It's done, finished, khatam. I'm back and back for good. But the point was not that. Saurav said he calls Sana 17 times and she doesn't pick up and middle of the night gets a message. All of my media friends here and Srinjoy and Orinjoy will attest. They have been through this with Saurav. So he's getting his own medicine back. But sorry, no, he's not like that. But with me, I've got to put this on record. Every time, for whatever, whether it is for Rev Sports, whether it is for me personally, he's one request away. One request away. Whether it is in his house where I go and have my fish fries and all that, whether it is to this conclave, he and his team. I'll single out Tanya because she's the one I keep badgering. Saurav Ganguly, ladies and gentlemen, has always been with me. And that is one of the greatest.
I have an answer to this of Boreas. When you say media and certain people call me 17 times, 18 times, I see how India has played. If Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma is not scoring runs, I don't pick the media call because I know what the question is going to be. And I'll tell you the question. Why is he not scoring runs? Why is he getting out on outside the off stump? Should they retire? Should India get a new batsman in place of Kohli and Rohit Sharma? How can I keep answering that all the time? So moment Rohit and Virat gets 100, I pick the phone. How well has he played? I said, no, his cover drive was superb. His cut was superb. His flick was superb.
Unbelievable. Okay, brilliant.
Can you imagine? Tomorrow India wins the World Cup. To all the journalists here, Monday morning till from 10 to 5, I'm available because all the good questions will come. And if India lose the World Cup tomorrow, I'm not available on Monday. So please make sure of that because the questions will be, is it the end of Rohit? Is it the end of Virat? Is it the end of Akshar? Should X bat at 4? Should Y bat at 6? I said, boss, don't ask me those questions all the time because neither I am answerable, neither I am selector, and neither I want to get up in the morning and see Ganguly wants Kohli and Sharma to retire. I don't want that, boss. So call me if India wins and I'll give you all my time.
Two-part felicitation. The first one, we've already given the copies of the book to the media. May I please have Deeptangshu Mondal on stage? May I please have Srinjoy Bose on stage? May I please have Sagar Daryani on stage? 3 of them. This is a book of my writings in Bangla. Srinjoy, please, can I have you on stage? book of my writings in Bangla and a lot of articles. দীপ দাশগুপ্ত কই আছেন? দীপকে আমি দেখতে পাচ্ছিলাম না, তাই জন্য আমি বলছিলাম না। দীপ লুকিয়ে গেল কোথায়? এই তো দীপ, সরি। and quite a few, আগে ওঠে না, পরে পাঠ চলো। This is a book of, Rubina is also here? Okay, I'll where's, please Rubina, come on stage. Rubina Francis, Paralympic medalist, also on stage. This is a book of my writings in Bangla, and a lot of this is on Saurav Ganguly. Deep, tumi diye dao? So that's part 1, and part 2 is awaiting you, ladies and gentlemen. Page number 77, exactly what we discussed today. Saurav Ganguly's problem is being Saurav Ganguly. Orange Joy tells me that's one of the best Bangla essays I have ever written. So that's the collection that we wanted to launch. Lot of the articles inside are on Saurav Ganguly. My association, and যখনই ওর বাড়ি যাই ওর ফোন আসতে থাকে, আমি উল্টো করে ফোনটা রেখে দিই যাতে he can't take calls when we are doing interviews. But that's the book that we wanted to launch today. That's part 1. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Saurav. You stay on, and that's the next part. I'm very, very privileged. Deep and Saurav together. Deep কিছু আর আমাকে ওখানে স্লেজ করছে। Anyway, photo, ছবি? Okay, please come. Saurav, Rubina is a Paralympic medalist. We'll celebrate that, a photograph together, please, and then I'll move to the next part. Yes, please. Deep দাঁড়াও, Deep, please দাঁড়াও। একসাথে 3 জন। Done? Okay. Now to the next part. I'm very, very proud of the show that I do backstage with Boria. That sort of gave Rev Sports its identity from day one. And the one company that backed the show from day one. And by the way, this is memorable. Because the first interview that we recorded in Calcutta as part of Backstage with Boria, was with Saurav Ganguly. Gives me great pleasure to call Jude Gomes, the head of AGS Federal Life Insurance, and my partners for this particular show to honor Saurav Ganguly. Shudu eta na. Chalo. As part of Backstage with Boria, there you go, Jude Gomes and Saurav Ganguly, ladies and gentlemen. Is Shormishta around for a final photo op, or is she there in the luncheon area? If Shormishta is around, can we have her please once on stage for a photo op? If she's not, Vinod, if you can call her, if I think she's outside, then we'll close this session. But as I said, this has been an outstanding session. The kind of audience applause and everything that we've got. Ladies and gentlemen, for who he is, for what he does, for what he has made Indian cricket now, for all the time that he has for us in the media, for all the friends that he has, all of the jokes aside, the transformation that he has been able to do to our sport, the contributions that he has made every day, day in, day out. And in Bengal, we are starved of brands. We need someone to fall back on. We need someone to fall back on. And a final photo op and a standing round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, for Saurav Ganguly, as I call Shormishta on stage, the favorite, the master, and for us in Bengal, no one better. For me as a friend, absolute privilege. This is one photograph I will treasure. Lunch, ladies and gentlemen, is served. Everybody who is accredited. Esho. Esho tumi, Pritha. The Tata Steel team, ekta chobi. Second. With the Tata Steel team, ekta chobi. And then for lunch, people who have accreditation, it's the other side. हाँ जाओ चलिए जानिए जा for for those who have accreditation, it's the other side.